All right, this interview is with Kathy Petrillo, who joined the Homemade Method back in December 2022. So she's been in the program for 8 months. Thank you so much for joining me, Kathy. Um, you look lovely. Let's go ahead and dive into some of these questions. So, first and foremost, I would love to hear a little bit about what your life was like prior to joining the Homemade Method, um, and what your weight and blood numbers were, if you're open to sharing them.
Sure, sure. Well, my weight was pretty good when COVID hit. And for 6 months, it was pretty good. My husband was home all the time. We cooked healthy. And then I got tired of doing that. Just something got weary. And I just kind of went once we started going back out and started eating over the next few years, I gained like 30 pounds. Um, I've always been a very healthy person in general, never had things like blood sugar problems, cholesterol problems, high blood pressure, none of that. Strokes, heart issues, none of that. My biggest issue was osteoporosis, number one, and um, osteoarthritis. I've had 2 knee replacements and 2 hip replacements in the last 12 years. My shoulders are now bad. I have bad arthritis in one of my hands. So for me, inflammation caused whatever my genetic weakness was. We all have different genetic weaknesses, whether it's the diabetes or stroke or whatever. Mine is osteoarthritis, and that's the worst thing. And about 2012, when I had my second knee replacement, I said, okay, I've got to get this inflammation under control. So I found a program that's not, well, it's called The Zone by Dr. Barry Sears, and it worked for me. At that time, I lost 50 pounds. You balance your protein, your carbs, and your fat, but you were so restricted on healthy foods. I managed that for all the way up till COVID, but I was just tired. I just got tired of that restriction. I can't eat bananas. You can't eat breads. You can't eat pasta. I mean, you could have like a fourth of a cup maybe because you had to count these blocks. And it was just, I just got weary, but it was effective. But I got tired of it. And I said, but I was asking questions like, what about fiber? Fiber is good, but I can't eat bananas. I can't eat even whole grain bread. I can't. So I was really tired of that. It did work for inflammation. And then COVID hit, and then COVID after. And then, I gained 30 pounds because I got tired of doing all this. I was just weary. So I was looking for something, and HMM, Homemade Method, popped up on my Facebook page. And I went, wait a minute. This is not that far off from what I was doing, but I don't have to manage and prepare and prep, which I was so tired of. So I saw HMN and was like, wow, I can do this. So that's what I did.
I love it. I hear you on the inflammation. It's something that almost everyone deals with in our society, and how it presents in your body can be so painful, especially with the osteoarthritis, your joints
Mhm.
just being super, super achy. Um, so I definitely want to dive into more of that later on in this chat, but I would just love to hear about how, well, first and foremost, when you were feeling super weary and tired of this diet, like, did you just give it up and that's when you gained the 30 pounds? And for like how long were you, just feeling like, nope, can't do it, won't do it, until you hit a point where you were like, okay, I've got to do something about this again. And
I just got weary, you
mhm,
know, 8 years or so. I was just tired of it. It was a lot.
yeah,
It was a lot because I had to plan everything. I had to think ahead. I had to make sure I had the foods. It was just a lot
yeah,
for me. And even though it was very, very effective and the
hmm,
inflammation was under control and my weight was under control, I was just so tired of it.
yeah. So you
Just
managed to do it for 8 years.
8 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's very impressive. I'm proud of you and impressed that you are that determined to stick to that kind of
But because it
strict,
was
yeah,
only
strict
because it was
plan.
effective, I got the
Totally.
result.
Totally. And so it's like you just have that one more tipping block where you're like, I can't do it anymore. And you need to find something that's more sustainable long term that still gets you the results you need.
Exactly. Ex-
Awesome. Yeah, which is what we specialize in. So
exactly.
let's talk about your amazing results that you got with us. Would you mind sharing a little bit about the weight you've lost and how you've managed your inflammation and if you've had any blood number improvements?
Okay. My blood sugar, my blood numbers have always been in the normal range. There has been no change. I just had a medical checkup a few months ago. Everything was perfectly normal. No problems whatsoever. Um, I started December 1st of 2022, very slowly, very gently, doing exactly what you guys recommend. Listen to the videos. I read all of the downloads that came in the initial email. I was very religious about going through all of that. Every day I listened to a video or two just for the mindset so I could really wrap my mind around what this is all about and really understand. In the meantime, I was making 3 or 4 recipes a week, finding out that I liked them. I wasn't doing everything the homemade method way, but I kind of had to use up what I had in my pantry and my fridge. And that took a while, even several months. But mostly, I just plugged into reading and watching the videos and listening to the videos. And in December, with all of the events we have to go to, with Thanksgiving, with Christmas, with New Year's, I managed to lose 4 pounds. I was shocked. And I wasn't hungry. I never felt deprived. And I noticed that I wasn't having the same kinds of cravings that I used to have. I would fill up quicker and be satisfied quicker. Um, so from December 1st of 2022 to August 1st, it's right at the end of July now, August 1st, I've lost 39 pounds. And really, it's been effortless, just effortless. For me, it was effortless. All I do is cook the recipes, freeze part of them, and then um, always have some kind of snack in the freezer. I can pull out if I want, always have fresh fruit. It's just, for me, it's effortless. All I have to do is quit overthinking, have a recipe planned ahead of time, and just make the recipe. For me, it really is that easy. Just make sure you have the ingredients, cook, period.
My gosh, literally music to my ears. I love that this feels effortless because as soon as you really start shifting your mindset, which is what you did originally, like you started out the program and you got that you had to shift your mindset, right? Instead of dieting and deprivation, you're like, I'm going to learn how to listen to my body and that's really what helped you build a strong foundation of healthy eating from the get-go. And it clearly worked because during the holidays, you lost 4 pounds, which is normally people are feeling the squeeze of all those holiday parties and all the decadent foods available and just getting together social occasion after social occasion and just feeling like I can't do this. So I'm so grateful that you were able to dive in and see progress through the holidays. And 39 pounds lost so far is absolutely impressive. You look gorgeous. You look so vibrant. I will say, like, your skin is glowing, your hair looks great. You look also very confident and calm in your skin, and that like is everything, right? Is to feel good in your body is worth so much, everything in the world. So I love seeing it. I'm so proud of you. Um, you chatted a little bit about wanting or about your journey with us and how it feels effortless and all you have to do is plan a little bit ahead. Make sure you go shopping, get the ingredients, and have a few recipes planned. Um, And I love that you started out with just 3 to 4 recipes a week and still saw
Mhm.
results. This is so promising for people who feel like they have to do all or nothing, right? I would love to for you to chat just a little bit more about, um, how the shift in your cooking occurred when you went from like, I'm on a strict diet, even though it was working, you're on a strict diet to just cooking our recipes. Like, how was that shift for you? And how did the shift of eating those recipes go? So just in terms of eating for satisfaction.
Well, that's a lot. How did the shift go? Um, well, what I discovered is that the recipes were just so good. They were just so good that I'm like, okay, maybe I can trust this recipe over here that looks kind of odd. It has beets or it has kale or some odd thing, both of which I already liked and would eat. But when you're combining all this weird stuff, it was hard to trust that that would actually be good. So for me, it was learning to trust that these recipes are good. And obviously, they're effective for health and for weight loss. Um, but even then, it's taken me probably until uh, month 7 to fully trust that I could try any recipe in here and I would probably like it. That being said, there have been 3 or 4 only in the last 8 months that I've tried and I said, yeah, that's not for me. But guess what? Who cares? I ended up throwing some things away because they just didn't appeal to me. And that's okay. Nobody cares. This is about my journey, not if Lizzie's hurt because I don't like one of the recipes.
Yeah.
But the vast majority of the recipes I've tried, I've liked. And I have remade many of them and I've developed favorites. The cheesy baked potato soup, which is very similar to the zucchini. There's a zucchini one. It's very similar. I like both of them. I've got some in my fridge right now. It's like the 4th or 5th time I've made it. It's just so good. It just suits my palate. So does that answer your question or?
Yes. Yes. No, you did a great job. The one thing that I would still like to talk about is just a little bit about eating for satisfaction. So when you're dieting, right, and you're having to be super regimented about how much you eat and what you eat, how is that different than our method where it's like you eat and then you reach your moment of satisfaction when you're elegantly full and then you stop? How has that shift been for you? And did it, I guess learning that process, did that happen right away for you? Did it take time? Um,
It did not happen right away, even though I was trying to be conscious. But what I found over that first month or 2 is that I naturally, just like you guys say this will happen, I naturally reduced the quantity of food that I was eating. That just happened naturally because I was trying to listen some, and that is still an ongoing process for me, learning to listen to my body. But I several months ago, and again, this is like 6 months into my journey, I began to think, wait a minute, I'm no longer feeding my belly. I'm not trying to get that belly feel. You just gulp food down, you feel that fat and grease in your mouth or whatever, and trying to get in your stomach to fill your stomach. I don't know if anybody is aware of that, but I became aware of that. So I no longer try to what's the word? Gulp my food down. I like to just stop and taste the taste, have that mouth feel, even when I'm really starved. But I can do that now. I don't have to just gulp and fill my belly. So I get that belly feeling. I taste the food. I feel the texture. I love foods with texture. So I like that feel in my mouth. If it's nuts or seeds, I like to sort of savor that. And that's just sort of been a natural process that's happened in the last few months that I haven't even had to try on. So what I'm finding, the longer you're in this journey, the more things you're going to discover about yourself. So don't give up after a month or 2 or 3 or 6 even, because I'm 8 months in and I'm still discovering things about eating and how I should eat and what I should eat.
Yes, it's a living, breathing relationship that we all have with food, our bodies, and continuing to adjust and rebalance our hormones, right? So what's happened in your body now is your hunger and satiety hormones have shifted. And it's incredible because now it's showing that like your satiety hormones are fixed essentially, or they're getting close to being there because you're finding you're full with much less food. Or you find that your hunger hormones have recalibrated and you're not feeling starving all the time where you're just
Yes,
wolfing down food
yes.
and doing so mindlessly. Instead, you're being actually intentionally mindful when you're eating and enjoying your food because you don't feel like you're starving when essentially you are not. It's just imbalanced hormones through, years of stress and um eating things that maybe didn't agree with you. Um I'm so happy you reached this point. It's incredible. I love this. And I find that a lot of our newer members feel really daunted by the idea of trusting their bodies because they haven't felt this sense of like, I don't have the ability to listen to my body. I don't trust that I'm going to just eat the amount that I need. I think I'm always going to be eating too much, or I need these severe restrictions in order to see results. So it's incredible that you've done what you've done. We're so proud of you. It's really a beautiful transition to watch when someone is able to trust themselves and is able to trust the process and reaches this point where they feel comfortable, eating a meal, stopping when they're elegantly full and saying, "Okay, I'm done. We're great. Let's move on." Right?
But I have to tell you that trust was hard won. It
Oh,
wasn't all there in the beginning. Oh, no, 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 no. I had to work at it and I had to learn by experiencing this whole homemade method. I had to learn that trust process and it got easier and easier and easier.
yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's a journey for sure. Um, let's talk a little bit about your relationship with food. Has it shifted since you've stopped dieting and started working with us, the homemade method?
Well, yes and no. I've always been a healthy eater. In my family growing up, my mother always had a protein, a carb, and a vegetable at meals, and we drank milk or we drank juice. I had very, very balanced meals growing up, very healthy meals, and I continued that into my adulthood. But you kind of get away from some of that once you realize you can, and your belly kind of takes over, and your cravings and the imbalances. So so I had a really good background. I'm very fortunate that I did. So my relationship with food now is, I can say, my number one motivation for eating is to nourish my body. I mentioned that I'm 68 years old. I'm not getting any younger. My health is not going to naturally be what it was when I was 20. And even though I'm healthy, how many more healthy years do I have? Do I have 10, 20, 30, 40? Who knows? So I've decided I have to maximize my nutrition, which includes the fiber, the fats, the proper amount of carbs and protein, so that I can maximize my remaining years, however many they may be. I don't want to have a stroke in 5 years, and then I've limited the next 20 years because of some um, disability that I now have. I want to maximize my health in every way I can to maximize my remaining years.
Love it. Um, Now let's talk a little bit about the members only group. I know you were excited to chat about this. Because you're super active in the group, which is awesome. We're so grateful for that. You are very engaged and encouraging to other members. You check in and kind of keep yourself accountable there as well and ask lots of questions. So how has the members only group shown up for you in this journey, and what do you use it for?
Oh my goodness. It is my go-to every day. I'm active on Facebook, but I'm also active. I'm an active person. I have so many other things. I have 6 grandchildren that live here. I'm active with my church. I do a lot. So I don't spend my days on Facebook. But when I do have a moment, I sit down. The first thing that pops up is the members only group. And I have had so much encouragement, and I feel like love. The ladies are there. The ladies who are there really do seem to care about other ladies. And we have ladies who are beginners, and we have people who've been there for years. And then I'm somewhere in the middle, but it was such a help to me at first. I just can't tell you. You can ask any question and you're not going to be beat up. You're not going to be made fun of. You can comment on others. You can encourage others and give them the same feeling of acceptance. And it's okay. You know, whatever you did or didn't do, it's okay, because this is a journey, as you said, and it's not a race. We're all in here for the long run, where nobody's going to do the homemade method perfectly. And you know what? You don't have to. Nobody cares. Nobody's keeping track. So I just love the group. There's an endless supply of support and camaraderie. I feel like I'm friends with so many that are in there.
Oh, that makes
And I
me
don't ever want to leave the group.
yeah. I love it. We don't want you to leave either. That's so beautiful. I love that you feel that sense of support there from your peers. And yes, it is such a positive, beautiful group. So I'm so glad you feel that. And same goes for the coaching. How are you feeling about the coaching you've received in the membership?
Well, it's wonderful. I haven't used any individual coaching. I just haven't needed, because the members only group has provided that, not just from the members, but from the coaches in the Facebook group have been wonderful. They're always chiming in when needed.
Hmm. All right. So, Kathy, what would you say to someone who is on the fence about joining our program?
What have you got to lose? Really? Well, a few pounds. We've all got a few to lose. I absolutely think it would be one of the best things you could do if you could give this at a minimum a 3 to 4 month trial run. Getting started is the hardest part, because there's some stuff you got to learn, but you'll get emails, there's videos. It's up to you to take advantage of those. So your success in this program depends on whether or not you take advantage of the materials that are supplied for you. That includes the members only Facebook page. Plug in, give it your all, no excuses, trust the program. I know that may take a while for you, like it did for me, but that's it. Just do it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Kathy. It was so great chatting with you today. I'm going to end the recording.